everyone, Mandy here and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another installment of the How to Roleplay series, revised portion, and today we're going to be talking about teams and friends. Now, before I go on with this topic, you guys should know there are specific things that I do want to mention beforehand, such as you don't need a team anymore in order to make a Minecraft roleplay or in order to make a Minecraft TV series or whatever you want to call it. There are other ways to do things other than creating a team and having a bunch of volunteers. There are mods like Blockbuster and Metamorph and emoticons that allow you to create thumbnails for yourself, that allow you to do body acting all by yourself, that allow you to do a lot by yourself. But if you want to do something like first person or improv, maybe then you want to look into doing something with a team or with friends. The first topic we're going to touch on is volunteers and team. Gaining a team of people to help out with your series and channel can take some time. When I first started doing YouTube and making role plays, I didn't have a huge team to help me. I used custom NPCs all the way back then in order to have characters move around, and then I built everything by myself and I made all of my skins, and I was not a good skin maker, let me tell you that. But at some point within my channel's career or within my channel's existence or my time here on YouTube within this community, I gained a big team that did eventually come to be and help me and all that good stuff. And all of the people who were in my team or who are in my team now are all volunteers. They are all people who volunteered their time in order to help me. How I gained a team was I opened applications and announced it on my channel, but I did not do this until I had reached about 1,000 subscribers on my channel. Really quickly, I am going to go through and show you how to create a Google document and how to create an application. I am going to quickly go over the old Starlight Studios application that we used to use in order to have people apply and all that stuff. And then I'll show you a little bit on how to, create things within the form, but I'm basically just showing you a basic layout. This is from a long time ago, so keep that in mind. So the first thing that you're going to see is the little introduction or the little description of whatever you are doing for your thing that you're making a form for, basically. So for us, we labeled it as Starlight Studios applications. This application is for the Roleplay Studio Starlight Studios. Starlight Studios is a team of supporters who volunteer their time in order to help out my name, MandyMiss, my channel name, make your content. All volunteers will be credited. We currently are accepting, and then these were the roles that we were accepting. This is very important. I know a lot of people do not go over and read this whole section, which they should. Always read this because there might be some information in here that you might need. But I always suggest adding a little description like this in the beginning, explaining what the application is for, and then explaining who you are or what the team is and all that type of stuff so people know what they're applying for. I think it's also good to add some rules to your application. These are the rules that we have for our application for people to apply, and it's also some rules that we have within our Discord. And you know how I said that there might be some important information within the application? I have a secret word in every application I make. That way I know that people read all of this stuff in order to, apply, because I want to know if people actually read this beginning part. Because like I said, some people just look up for applications, don't know who you are, what your channel is about, or whatever, and they just apply for them. So I think adding something like this will kind of filter out some people who don't really know, or people who are applying for the wrong reason. Because I'll be honest, sometimes we would get some applications being like, hey, I want to be a voice actor, and we're just like, we're not accepting voice actors right now. And it would always be us having to delete like probably 10 to 20 applications like every time, just to get through the people who have applied to be a voice actor, because this is not how you apply to be a voice actor. Usually there will be like an announcement video for voice actors, or usually there will be like a casting call, club call for voice actors. So yeah, this is not how you apply to be a voice actor. I am just telling you that right now. So what we would ask for in our application was basic information like your Minecraft username, and we would be like, you don't need to put down your real name if you're not comfortable with it, because some people like to keep a sense of privacy about like their IRL stuff online, and that's perfectly fine. And then add in like your Discord so we can contact you. And then we ask how old are you, because we have a minimum age requirement, so it just helps us filter out people who are younger. And sometimes even people lie about their age, but usually we can tell through the application if someone is lying about their age. We would also ask what type of microphone they have. That way we would know if they would be able to communicate with us. Some people would just use like their iPhone microphones or like their earbud microphones, and that was perfectly fine. You don't need to have a high quality microphone. And then what position you're applying for. Obviously we need to know what position you're applying for so we can see if you're a good fit for that position, what time zone you're in. When me and Atmosphere were doing everything, we were in EST, so we did everything in EST. So we would need to know if you were in EST, if you were if you were in a time zone that was like similar to EST or something like that, something close to our time zone. Or if you're like in Europe, it was usually not a good fit, to be honest, because that is a very big time zone gap. And then we would ask how much time that you're willing to volunteer each day. This is just to give a sense of like how much time are you willing to dedicate. Like if you're really only willing to dedicate like an hour, like tell us that, like 2 to 5 hours or 5 hours plus. Usually no one ever ticked this box, and that's perfectly fine. We just wanted to get a general sense of like how much time you wanted to volunteer. Usually never anyone ticked this one, and that's perfectly fine. And then we would have different sections for building and body acting, and then a whole nother section for like pin makers and stuff like that. The big thing that I want to point out about the body acting and building section is that you need to know these basic information, this basic information. You need to ask people this right here. Do you have a Minecraft account? Some people would apply and they don't even have a Java Minecraft account. They couldn't help or do anything. And then, do you know how to install mods? It's very important that you would know how to install mods when auditioning for something like this. Usually we would teach people sometimes, so it's not a huge deal, but it's okay if you don't know how to. But this is a really important one, honestly. Can you run about 40 mods? Our mod pack had about 40 mods in it, so we need to know if you can run the mod pack in order to get onto the server, in order to actually help. So yeah, those are the big 3 that I recommend that you ask. All the other stuff is just more like personal preference stuff, like asking them like what you feel comfortable building. Like, do you feel more comfortable doing interior work or structures or stuff like that? Do you have experience with chisel and bits? Just stuff around about like personal preference and what they are able to do, basically. Also, you can see right here at the top, we have like little tiny descriptions for like headers or like for questions, basically being like the section is for applying for body acting and building. You know, if you don't want to apply, please put skip in here, because this is a required question that they have to answer. So they would do like a dash or a skip if they don't want to apply for this. For skin making, obviously this is a bigger section of text. We just copy and pasted the one from up there and then put that in here for, you know, if you're not applying for this one, skip. But also we would add on that we work with only specific type of like skin makers, and that, you know, they do earn like money, or they do earn like some sort of compensation for making HD skins for the studio and stuff like that. So yeah. A big thing for skin makers in this section is, you know, being like, can you show us examples of skins that you have made? Usually with HD skins, it's good to always reverse image search skins, because that way we can tell if something was, you know, something that someone actually made or something that someone took off of Google. Because a lot of times within this sort of stuff, people would take images off of Google and then they would apply for Skin Maker, and then when they get into the actual Discord, they would not know how to do anything, and they wouldn't actually fulfill like skins or orders that we would put in, and then eventually they would just be kicked, because we would figure out, hey, like, we know that you can't actually do this, we're gonna kick you. And yeah, so I would just do reverse image searching, which is basically you take an image, you would just throw it into Google, and then you see what pops up, just so that way you are hiring people or accepting people who actually know what they are doing. And then this part is optional for you to add in. This is just like a getting to know you type of section. Like, why do you think you're a good fit for the team? Tell us about yourself. Like, we just want to see if like your personality will mesh with the team, see if you fit in well, stuff like that. Usually this is a very broad and open question. So usually this question was really fun to get responses on. And then, you know, all of that other stuff. Then down here, if you can tell, we would always have this question right here on the bottom of our application, and it is a required question that people have to answer. And if we go all the way back up to the top to where the rules are, you can see right here, the secret word is galaxy. That's how we know that people read this part, or at least this part, because we would have a question all the way down at the end of the application be like, what's the secret word? And you could really tell when people read things on applications, because if they would answer this wrong, we would just delete the whole application and then just forget about it, to be completely honest. Making your own application, you can see that this little bar has been on the side here the whole time I have been scrolling around on this application. This one is to add a question. So add one of these is this button right here. This button is to import a question from a different like application that you might have. This one is to add a title or a description, and that is what these are. These are titles and descriptions. This one is to add an image. Up here, this is what the image might look like on your application. This one was to add a video, basically the same thing as an image. Then this one is to add a section. So you can see how these are split into different sections. Like this is after section 1, continue to the next section. This is section 2 out of 4, section 3 out of 4, section 4 out of 4. It is just to break up the application into different sections so it's not all jumbled up into one long thing. Now you have to keep in mind that some people do just go and search for application videos to just join random teams. So they might not even know who you are or what your channel's about or anything like that. So just keep that in mind when looking through applications. You want people who know what your channel is, know who you are, and know what your channel is about and what they will be doing. This part should go without saying, but be nice to your volunteers, okay? Can't tell you the amount of times I've heard of creators mistreating their volunteers or their crew who help them create content. And it's honestly just frustrating hearing that creators can treat other people like that, especially people who are helping them and who are dedicating their time to helping that creator. I understand things can get really frustrating sometimes, but you don't take it out on the people who help you, who take time out of their day to help specifically you. Another thing to note is that you don't need to do applications at all in order to gain a team. If you have friends and they want to help you out, your friends can be your team as well. If you have friends that you've made online or friends in real life who also like the same things you do and are interested in the same stuff and they are willing to help out, then let them. Creating with your friends can be really awesome, but make sure that they know when it's time to get to work. Moving on to the next topic is schedules. Setting a schedule for a team is a really good idea. I suggest doing this, but also keep in mind that if you're just starting out, to take it easy with the schedule. And also if you do use body actors and builders, keep the schedule light. Do not overwork them with a bunch of stuff that they need to do. When you're just starting out, I suggest that you do one building session and one recording session a week. That way you're not asking too much of your team and it's easily manageable for everybody. Once you start to grow, you might want to add more as the demand for content is higher, but keep in mind your team is made up of people who have their own lives and things that they also have going on. Within Starlight, we have a policy attached to our schedule stating that we believe that anything important IRL is more important than whatever we have scheduled. So things like school, homework, college, actual work, etc. All of that is way more important than our silly little Minecraft recording sessions. Usually when you respect other people and their time and understand that they have things they need to do, they will be more likely to show up for you when you need them. So just be understanding of other people and their time. But also letting your team know this and giving them the space to figure out stuff is going to help you and not hurt you in the long run. You're going to create a very, very trusting space within your team. When Starlight was super active, we would get a lot of people who would be sitting in on the recording sessions, just sitting in the server AFK or in spectator mode, doing their homework and catching up on that. And then when they're done, they are ready to get right into helping and recording, which is really cool. Setting up a schedule can also make your team way more productive, and they can also remind your team when sessions are held, so that way they are more likely to show up. Big thing to mention with your team is that recording sessions are work time, not playtime, because you want everyone just to stay focused. But it's not a bad thing if you guys crack a couple jokes or goof around a little bit. That also makes for good bloopers if you want to release any bloopers. But it's also good to not put a lot of pressure on your team, and just to remind them that we're also here to, you know, have fun, make videos, just chill, all that type of stuff. So when Starlight was really active, I'm going to put a picture of the schedule that we used to have up on screen for just like one random week for recording sessions and whatnot. But also something to keep in mind, Starlight Studios was run not only by me, but also by another creator who also had all of their stuff that they needed to get done and had people to help out with too. So our stuff is a little bit more active, or was a little bit more active at the time. So we had a full week of stuff planned and ready to do. Hopefully this video helped you guys out and helped you understand a little bit more about teams and scheduling and all that good stuff. I also would like to mention, like I did in the beginning of the video, you don't need a team as much anymore as you did all the way back then. We have mods and other things to support doing things all by yourself. This is what I prefer and recommend, just because I feel like teams and volunteers and all that type of stuff, well, yes, it's a good way to gather your community, and yes, it's a good way to, you know, interact and stuff like that, but it's also a thing of the past within the roleplay community. Further down the line, I would like to make a video discussing the roleplay community as a whole, and discuss the future of it, and discuss what it used to be or what it used to look like. But that will be another topic for another day. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day / night / whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.